The relationship between PlayStation fanboys and Call of Duty has always been a strange one, because PlayStation's been the top buyer of Call of Duty for like a decade at this point. The success of Call of Duty is always attributed to PlayStation, to the point that Jim Ryan himself tried to argue that PlayStation as a platform was more or less reliant on Call of Duty. And yet, despite how bad the games got and how unenjoyable the franchise became for many and how hard the franchise fell off, the PlayStation diehards always stuck behind Call of Duty, despite them also being the people that gas up Oscar bait cinematic action games that get showered with praise every year. You know, we really care about review scores and the opinions of journalists, but also we still really like Call of Duty because it has a PlayStation marketing deal. But now, all of a sudden, all those same PlayStation dudes are trying to act like they think Call of Duty sucks and Call of Duty has always sucked and no one should be supporting it, even though they were supporting it way more than everyone else was by all available measures, and also by all available measures, they are still supporting it to a ridiculous degree. Like, you guys stuck by some of the worst Call of Duty games ever released because they had a marketing deal with PlayStation. But now that there's an Xbox logo on the box, all of a sudden you guys hate the series and it's totally irredeemable, which gets extra awkward now because apparently Black Ops 6 is actually a damn good Call of Duty game by modern Call of Duty standards, and people are really enjoying it. And God bless. I used to love Call of Duty. I want Call of Duty to get back on track. If Black Ops 6 is worthy of praise, I genuinely welcome that. But the same PlayStation fanboys that stuck up for games like Vanguard and the Modern Warfare reboots are now having to act like there's something fundamentally wrong with people enjoying Black Ops 6, even though by all available accounts, Black Ops 6 is better than the nonsense that they were eating up for years on end. And why are they doing this? Because there's an Xbox logo on the box now. And for really no other reason. It will never stop being funny to me when PlayStation fanboys try to act like Call of Duty is this totally terrible franchise and it's absolutely sucking and Microsoft totally destroyed it, when all the while you guys were supporting this franchise through its worst periods. And now that it seems like the worst period is over and Call of Duty might actually be on a bit of a redemption streak, you know, reception to Black Ops 6 has been extremely positive. But now, all of a sudden, who would play Call of Duty? Call of Duty's a dead game, you guys. Why would you support Call of Duty? This game sucks. Maybe if you guys hadn't gassed up the worst Call of Duty games, the franchise would not have fallen off as hard. Have you ever considered that? So today we're just going to go through some of my favorite PlayStation fanboy meltdowns over the positive reception to Black Ops 6. I want to repeat, I'm not saying you have to like Black Ops 6. I don't even care if you hate Black Ops 6. This video is just dedicated to the hilarity of people saying Black Ops 6 is bad on its face because of Xbox. And it's made all the funnier when you remember the fact that the people saying this were the same people bragging about Call of Duty doing better on PlayStation than Xbox when Call of Duty was absolutely sucking eggs. So, shall we begin? The Red Dragon says it's still early, but over a 50% drop in players from all-time high on a Friday night. Investigation emoji? And then a picture of Steam charts. You're going to see a lot of PlayStation dudes using Steam charts as a dunk on Xbox. And you're also going to see a lot of these people not understand how Steam charts work. But look at when this tweet was posted. 4:47 p.m. Yeah, that's working hours, Red Dragon. Less people are playing the game because they're at their fucking jobs. Do you have a fucking job? Do you understand the concept of a fucking job? Also, October 25th was a Friday, but you took the tweet at least it was 4:47 my time, and I know that I am ahead of the West Coast time. I'm in Colorado, which means the West Coast, which has a whole bunch of very populated places who would be playing this game, it was fucking 3:45 for them. Of course they weren't on Call of Duty, you jobless twit. God, and you know that he was sitting here waiting to take the screenshot. It got to like 5:45 for him, or maybe 6:45 if he's like on the East Coast. I don't know where he is, but I know he's American, which means the absolute latest it could have been for him when he took this screenshot was 6:47 p.m. and he's calling that Friday night, man. Prime time. It's prime Call of Duty hours for the whole world at 6:47 on the East Coast of the United States. Ugh, dead game. Red Dragon had a lot to say though, because he also said, quote, Xbox trying to boost their numbers and overinflate their player count. If you can't make it, fake it. And then he has a pop-up from the PC Xbox app with 3 settings. Those settings being, quote, launch Xbox when I start my computer. That doesn't affect Call of Duty's player count. Launch minimize to system tray, that also doesn't affect player count, and on close, minimize the app in the system tray. That does not affect player count. These are all settings for the Xbox PC launcher. These settings, even with all of them enabled, do nothing to the game's player count because these are settings for the PC app, not the PC game. Have you ever used a computer before? It literally says at the top there, we've made it easy to keep Xbox running so you don't miss a thing. You can always change these later in settings. Keep Xbox running. Xbox, as in the PC app called Xbox. Can you fucking read? How scared are you of a good Call of Duty game? Charlie Intel tweets out, Black Ops 6 reached over 306,000 players on Steam today. First time a Call of Duty has surpassed 300,000 players on Steam since 2022. Juju responds, they had to give it away on Game Pass for free to hit this number, by the way, laughing, crying emoji. Yeah, Steam does not count Game Pass. I don't know if you guys know that. You evidently don't. And there's going to be more people later in the video who don't know that. But Game Pass is not hosted on Steam. Like, if PC Game Pass is not connected to Steam in any way. If you are subscribed to PC Game Pass and you are using PC Game Pass, even for games that are also hosted on Steam, if you're using PC Game Pass, you have to launch the games through the Xbox app, which means you're not contributing to Steam's player counts when you play games through PC Game Pass. So all the people playing this game on Steam bought the game. But, you know, cope harder, I guess. How about another one? At Greedy Belly responds to the same post and says, because it's basically $12 for most. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be half that. Well, it's not, and it isn't. So, go home, I guess. Black Ops 6 is doing phenomenally well on Steam. It's doing way better than I thought it was going to on Steam. But, you know, that's what happens when you make a game that a lot of PC gamers want to play and you launch it day one on Steam where most PC gamers are playing. Maybe Sony should be taking notes from this. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. Richard Greco responds to IGN giving the campaign a 9 out of 10. And says, review paid for by Activision, skull, 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 skull. And Voltage Wolf responds, 1 million%. Use commas, guys. Use commas. Fucking Christ. But friendly reminder of what IGN gave the last Call of Duty's campaign, and the one before that, and the one before that. But yeah, no, this is where they started paying for reviews. I'm all for clowning on IGN. IGN doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. No one should take any of their reviews seriously. But you can't pick and choose which games in the same franchise by the same publisher are paid and which ones are not. If this one was paid for, then we have to discount all of the reviews, which I'm happy to do for IGN, but you PlayStation guys are clearly not happy to do, because whenever IGN praises a game, you guys parade it around the town square like it's gospel. Maybe, crazy concept, they just liked the campaign. It's not that deep. I just love how people are so eager to discredit reviews and journalists as an entirety whenever there's a review that comes out that they disagree with, but the second review comes out that they do agree with, now, all of a sudden, the institution of games journalism is trustworthy again. Either the whole industry is fine, or the whole industry is compromised. You can't have it both ways. Mr. J Money Deuce also responds to IGN's review and says, that Xbox money, game is ass. We don't trust your reviews. Game is ass, but you couldn't have possibly played it yet. At the time that they posted this review, you could not have possibly played the campaign yet. But the game is ass because of Xbox money. PlayStation dudes, I swear, you guys are something else. You guys are something else. I never want to hear people ask me, like, Joe, why do you make fun of PlayStation fanboys so much? Joe, why do you pick on them so much? Stop picking on PlayStation fanboys. Stop giving me free ammo, and I will. I didn't make you guys say this stuff. You chose to. A whole bunch of you chose to. You made me. If you just stopped doing this shit, I'd have to find new things to talk about. Maybe you could give me something new to talk about. But you won't do that because you're not capable of just shutting up and playing games. Here's another one. At Crying Bots says Black Ops 6 on release, Black Myth Wukong on release, with Steam charts again, because PlayStation dudes are obsessed with Steam charts for some reason, but then whenever a PlayStation game comes out that doesn't crank Steam charts numbers, you're like, ugh, PC gamers, I hate them. But then when a game comes out that you want to use Steam charts as like a beating stick with, you're using PC gamers as your personal attack dog. Get off my fucking lawn. But also, you're telling me that Black Ops 6 couldn't hit the exact same numbers as the entire nation of China rallying behind Black Myth Wukong? Bro, that's crazy. I didn't see that coming at all. Ooh, you guys are so smart. Okay, one more. At Jamie's Act says Black Ops 6. PS5 is better than Series X is better than Series S. Xbots are probably hoping there won't be a PS5 Pro upgrade anytime soon. And then he had a video ripped from Digital Foundry where they did the frame rate test of all the different versions, which if you just go watch that frame rate test yourself, what you'll find is that the Series X and the PS5 versions of the game are actually pretty close to each other in terms of frame rate. Sometimes the Series X version drops a handful of frames below the PS5 version. Sometimes the PS5 version drops a handful of frames below the Series X version. And there's an argument to be made that the Series X is actually putting out a more detailed visual during all those, but given the fact that I'm a PC gamer who understands graphic settings and just can't be fucked with stuff like this anymore, I'm just going to call you an idiot and move on, because it's not like you were playing the campaign that they're testing anyways. The second you guys start talking about frame rates, and like a handful of frames that bounce back and forth between the two platforms, because you're saying this like gameplay's best on PS5, but it's like you're not even consistently right. It's not even like the PS5 is running away with the performance. We're talking like a handful of frames that the PS5 has over the Series X sometimes, but then sometimes the Series X has a handful of frames over the PS5. It's like this, you're grasping so hard. And we all know you weren't gonna play this to begin with, because if you were, you would be playing it. But you're talking about someone else doing a frame rate test with such minuscule differences in performance, and that's the best you've got. Ugh, just, ooh, I get so much enjoyment out of watching people gas up Call of Duty for like a decade now, and now that Microsoft is calling the shots for the series, all of a sudden, all of it is terrible. Even though this year, it actually doesn't seem terrible. It seems like people are actually feeling pretty positive about it this year. But now, it's all bad. All of it's bad. It was great before, even though by the accounts of basically everyone who actually still plays this series, it's better now. But no, it was better before because there was no Xbox logo on the box, but now there is an Xbox logo on the box. So the game itself doesn't matter. You're a PlayStation fanboy. Of course you don't think gameplay actually matters, but just, okay. This stuff drives me nuts. I love it. Okay, toodles.